What's up, everybody? It's your favorite driver and flyers, favorite nerd, and today we are looking at the Star Wars Black Series Enfys Nest and Enfys Nest Swoop bike. It's pretty impressive. It's surprisingly large, so to speak. So we're going to talk about the bike, and then we'll get to the rider and driver and flyer afterward. The one thing I really want to drive home is how large this thing is, so to speak. It's about 20 and a half inches from front to back, which makes it, I think, the largest Black Series vehicle, bar the TIE Fighter, obviously, but the largest, like, speeder. Because there's Luke's speeder, and there's Rey's speeder, so it's significantly larger. So there's not a whole lot to talk about. It does come in 3 or 4 pieces. There's this piece which comes, there's a little triangular bracket that sits on this when you get in the box. You just take that off and then slide this up so it plugs in about halfway up this area. It has the paint, the red, the gray, and then the silver weathering. It has a little bit of wash on it here and there, which is interesting. It probably would have looked better from just a full wash, but it only gets it here and there. We do have like tons of breakup and sculpted details throughout. No real issue. These little flaps down here, they're all separate pieces. This is like, they definitely didn't hold back with separate pieces. Like, it's not one solid piece. There's a lot put together here with all these wirings and plugs. And if you're a customizer and you throw some paint on some of these details down here, it's really going to help bring it to life. You have this piece, which is plastic, but then the red and black is painted on. Once again, the same gray and red details on this side, and then the red and black paint on this area as well for the tip of it, so to speak. And then you have this, which is on a ball peg, so you can get some movement around, and it is translucent, and I guess it's supposed to be a cloud of sorts, which is a little goofy, but it's fine. You have little foot stirrups here for other riders to ride on or fly on or drive on. And then you have these little handlebars here, and they do extend, like it is separate pieces that this plugs into this, and then they're kind of working pistons, which is pretty cool. And then the handlebars are painted silver, and you have the seat and the stirrups here. So it's everything you'd want it to be. For the most part, sculpt and detailing wise, you could get away with throwing some extra paint on it. That certainly wouldn't hurt to kind of help bring it to life. But for the most part, I mean, sculpt wise and sort of the bare essentials, it's, I mean, I don't know what else I would ask for. And then you have the Enfys Nest as well. So she comes with this weapon. It's really cheesy. Like, after looking at the bike and the figure, this weapon seems out of place. It's just this gray plastic. It's sculpted well enough, but there's no detailing whatsoever on this. It's very much so trash. The rider itself it's pretty well done, and it has a lot of little kind of bells and whistles. So let's try to go and not miss anything. The head is on a ball peg. I can't tell if it's a hinge ball peg or not. I think it might just be a double ball peg. You get a lot of articulation out of it. You can't take it off. I was hoping that you would take it off and the face would be underneath, but you can't do that. These bits are all softer plastic, so they have a hard time kind of staying in place as you manipulate the figure. It's painted silver there and then blue. The straps around the helmet are painted. The symbol on the face is painted. The visor's painted, and then the tips are painted up here. You do get the swivel up and down, etc. The hair is all sculpted and painted on the back. The fur is like, you know, we saw with the Range Trooper, and it's a nice touch. And you can kind of get the head over top of it to kind of keep it down, because it doesn't have that heavy look to it, because it's not, you know, it's not heavy. And then the cape is a dense material. It's actually pretty nice. It has a little bit of weight to it the way it falls. If it was kind of larger and more bundled up, it would look more impressive, but it's pretty impressive as it is, because it's, I'm guessing it's 2 layers stacked, you know, an orange layer and a black layer. Looks really good. You have a diaphragm joint on a ball peg, and it feels like a single, but it acts like a double. Great articulation there, and the swivel, of course. You have this piece, which is glued on, which is painted with the silver, the copper, and then the bone color. And then you have this flight suit detailings underneath that are painted the white and gray underneath. And then the whole suit is sculpted with the textures and such, and then the little line work and so forth. So no issues. Underneath, you have ball hinge shoulders that get you up to here, which is a great range, and then all the way around. You have a bicep swivel at the elbow, and the elbow is single hinge, which gets you 90 degrees. We got some sculpted detail there on the forearm, but no paint. But you do have this piece glued on, which does have paint, the red, silver, and gray. And then the wrists are hinged in, out, and swivel, and you have a trigger finger hand with no gun, but it'll double as a staff holding hand, so I guess that works. Same for the other side, including the forearm details. Then you have this piece, which is glued on, and it's painted quite nicely, very sharp, very clean with the white, the orange. The bone is the color of the plastic, the white around the belt, the silver, and the brown. No real complaints. The suit has sculpt work even on the back, which is nice. And then you have T-joint and ball joints for hips that get you a great range out to there. Forward and back to there. Thigh swivel at a cut joint. The pants are all sculpted. You have double jointed knee, which isn't the prettiest, but it is effective. You have these bits that are added on, painted silver, and then the straps are painted, and then they're on both sides. You have then this knee, which actually has a plate. Let's see if it looks any better being used. Not really. And it has some silver detailings painted on it. And then the ankles, ankle tilt down, ankle tilt up, and rocker. And they are very little feet. They're like, the feet seem disproportionately small to me. But that's a small complaint. Am I right? Show you guys this dio I was finishing up of the Ghost lounge and kitchen. Kind of pulled out all the stops for this. Like, used all the tricks we had. And it looks good. My wife helped me a lot with it. Little Stormtrooper symbols up there. Some Sabine art over in the background. The chess table. You know, just waiting on a few extra figures, and this one will be done. But it's this is probably in my top 5 dios I've done for sure. Final thoughts wise, I don't have a whole lot of complaints. The weapon looks ridiculous in comparison to the rest of the figure, which is pretty well detailed. The bike is surprisingly impressive. Tons of sculpt work, tons of paint, tons of detailing. And I think you can put this weapon on here. Come on, that's pretty cool. The soft goods work well, but the soft plastic doesn't work as well. It has a tendency to get a little gummy and has a tendency to warp a bit, so that's a bit of a bummer. But the figure itself has tons of like bells and whistles, like the fur and the cape and the softer plastic at the flaps. It's painted to the nines throughout. Articulation works across the board. I mean, it is $60, so like you can make the argument, well, it better be, and I'd be on board with that argument, but at least it's satisfying to spend the $60 and see that it is. I think I would have been more comfortable around 45, but I don't feel robbed at 60 for what you're getting here, because it is a lot of love that went into this, and it does work very well. So thanks for listening, thanks for watching, until next time, take care.